Well, I'm in the lobby of the Hotel National here in Davos. Just upstairs is the Ukrainian Prime Minister. I think he'd quite like to be down the road at the Congress Center, but he hasn't really been invited because of the violence in the streets in Kiev, which the government's being blamed for. However, he is seeing industrialists. He also saw me briefly, and his line is pretty uncompromising. Essentially, he says that the violence isn't the fault of the government, that it's the fault of ultra-nationalists in the crowd, xenophobes, as he put it. He says the government is prepared to compromise, but he seems to be putting all the onus on the demonstrators and on the opposition. He says the only way that you can really restore peace in Kiev is people leave the streets, they leave the buildings they've occupied. He's not prepared to contemplate the opposition's demand for snap presidential elections. The fact that the Ukrainian Prime Minister has not been welcomed into the halls of the Congress Center itself is obviously a worrying sign for the government of Ukraine, which is engaged in a battle against the threat, the very real threat of international isolation if violence continues to spiral out of control in Kiev and in the rest of the country. The US has started to move towards a kind of quasi-sanctions regime. If there's more violence on the streets in Kiev and elsewhere, then assuming the government gets the lion's share of the blame for that, I think it's quite likely that the European Union will move quite swiftly itself to impose some sort of sanctions. So a lot of what the Prime Minister was trying to do with me, and perhaps with rather more important people, key investors like Lakshmi Mittal, who was just in the room just before me, was to say, this isn't our fault, the country's calmer than you think, rethink your view of the Ukraine. He made quite a fluent and plausible case, but I suspect he's fighting a losing battle.